Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Lorie Johnson. So glad you tuned in today. I think you're going to be glad you did, because today we're talking about an issue that affects almost all of us at one time or another. That is back and spine pain. Believe it or not, around the world, 1 billion people, billion with a B, suffer from spinal and back pain, making it the #1 cause of disability. My guest today is Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo, who is a leading spinal and orthopedic surgeon, and he leads the Institute for Comprehensive Spine Care in New York City. Dr. Okubadejo, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So recently you came out with a list of 13 worst mistakes people make that can cause back pain and spine pain, which indicates that so many of the people who are suffering terribly from back pain and spine pain, their injuries could have been prevented. So this is actually a very preventable injury, correct?
Absolutely.
Of the 13 different things, and we're going to be going over them, what would you say is the most important for people to know?
I'd say two things are most important. Number one, as we age, our body tends to get stiffer, so the risk of injury increases tremendously. So we have to actively work on flexibility. We have to actively stretch. We have to actively do things to make sure our bodies remain as limber as possible. The more we do that, the less we have a risk of injury and the better our lives are as we age. We have to put energy into graceful aging and do what we need to do actively for our bodies to respond to what we do to get us there. The second thing that I think is critical is core strength. The core determines everything we do. The core determines spine health. So if we actively put energy into being flexible and to maximizing our core strength, then we can age gracefully and have as good a body as we can have as we go forward with life.
At what age do people start experiencing back pain?
From my experience, it begins typically around the mid-30s. That's when the body changes. That's when our discs have less fluid, our muscles have less fluid, and things start to get a little tighter, a little stiffer. That's when I see a big uptick in the injuries that people have. Most people begin by having disc injuries, and that gradually progresses to involving the joints, the facet joints, and arthritis. But it begins first with the disc, and that comes from stiffness, essentially.
I know so many people who have had back injuries, and they're just excruciating. And I love that you came out with these wonderful suggestions that give us all hope to preventing them. Can you drill down a little bit on flexibility? So are you talking about, for example, lifting weights at the gym, weights that strengthen your back muscles?
No, actually with flexibility, it's actually getting on the floor, getting on a mat and stretching, isolating the different muscles and stretching out. So what I suggest is get on a mat and do exercises that focus on stretching out your lower back first, and then isolate the lower back. Get into a prone position first, then turn supine, and then bend from your hip down and stretch your back. Then focus on stretching your legs. Focus on stretching the hamstrings, the Achilles. A lot of people, when they get injure their hamstrings, they injure their Achilles, they injure their quads. So you have to keep these very limber. Then stretch out your arms, stretch out around your shoulders, around your elbows, your triceps, your biceps. You essentially have to go through a checklist, almost be proactive in creating a checklist and stretch out all these different muscle groups and begin with that before beginning any lifting exercises. A huge mistake a lot of people make, they come to the gym, the first thing they do, they start lifting immediately without stretching. Stretching comes first, then do everything else.
That's really interesting that you say stretching things like your arms can actually help prevent back injuries. A lot of people might not put those two muscle groups together.
It's all connected. So, because if you haven't stretched out your triceps or your biceps, then you might reach for something and not really extend properly. Then the stress has to go somewhere else. So if you don't stretch out and reach fully, now the stress goes to your lower back. The same thing goes for your legs. If your quads are tight, if your hip flexors are tight, then they won't move in the way that they're designed to, and the stress goes somewhere else. And the body, for whatever reason, tends to have the stress go right into the lower back. So you have to keep things as limber as possible to minimize the stress that goes into our backs, especially our lower backs.
Where can people get more information about a program so they could start following to increase their flexibility? Is there anything online that people can look at?
Yeah, there are many different sources. On my website, nynjspine.com, I have things that people can reference as ways to kind of keep limber and to strengthen, but there are different sites that can show this. But it's more about being proactive and being aware. You have to first begin by thinking you want to prevent injury. And the way to prevent injury is first with being limber through stretching, and then you strengthen. So first stretch, then strengthen.
So when you talk about first limbering up and getting flexible, is this something that you need to do for like 15 or 20 minutes every day?
Yeah, essentially, I think at least 5 days a week, because the biggest sign of aging is stiffness. If you picture your older gentleman, your older woman, they're kind of bent over and they're stiff. They don't move as much, right? So if you don't proactively pay attention to maintaining motion, that's the first thing that goes. And then your risk of injury increases dramatically because you just can't move as well as you want to. So I suggest stretching for at least 15 minutes a day. And it doesn't take much. Literally, if you just have a mat and just a mindset of wanting to stretch, and then you stretch out. And then you can use accessories for stretching. You can get little weights. So as you bend down trying to touch your toes, you can grab little weights that add gravity and pull. So that allows you to get beyond where you may get to naturally. You can also get different bands. And when you're on the ground, use those to stretch out your Achilles, stretch out your hamstrings. There are different devices that you can use that specifically aid in stretching. So I think having a program to proactively stretch is first, then take it from there.
What type of weight-bearing exercises, the weightlifting, the strength exercises do you recommend to strengthen your back?
So for strengthening the back or for protecting the back, you want to strengthen your core. So the stronger your core is, the more protection your back has. So I like inline exercises, and they're also more strenuous routines, but first inline exercise. And by inline, those are things that don't put direct stress on your lower back. So you can do things like leg raises, things like planks. Those are all inline, where you're not really stressing your lower back. Your body is kind of maintained in a straight position, and you're just putting the stress and isolating the stress into your core. You can also do sit-ups as another example. You can do leg raises. Those are all body weight routines that isolate the core and can help prevent you from having further injury to or any kind of injury to your lower back. And then you can use other devices, and you can go online and there are different devices that you can use to aid with your routines as well. But begin first with floor exercises, doing planks, doing leg raises, and then you can add and build from there.
It's so interesting because I've always thought that planks and leg raises were to strengthen your stomach. I've done those in like ab classes at my health club before.
They strengthen the core.
We're going to take a quick break and be right back to talk more about ways to prevent back and spine injuries. My guest is Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo. We're going to be right back. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
I do not like my sheets. I love my Giza Dream Sheets.
Call or go to mypillow.com right now to take advantage of Mike's limited time offer. Use the promo code on the screen, and when you buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how you can get your own continuous glucose monitor or CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Stay connected with CBN News all day across our platforms.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. We're talking about ways to prevent back and spine pain. My guest today is Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo. He's with the Institute for Comprehensive Spine Care in New York City. Doctor, I was wondering, during the COVID pandemic, for example, the last year and a half, have more people experienced back pain because they've been working at home, sitting on the couch or in their bed, which really aren't very ergonomic situations?
Yeah, I've seen an uptick in back injuries. A lot of us have become deconditioned. People who had gym memberships weren't able to go to the gym and didn't quite have the right setups to maintain their routines at home. So injuries have increased. As you mentioned, having a bed that's not ergonomic, having a work setup that's not ergonomic has also increased the injury rates that we've seen. So when it comes to sleeping, it's important to have a mattress that's firm, that provides good spine support. If your mattress is too soft and your back sinks into the mattress, then your risk of injury becomes higher. Your work setup, you have to have an ergonomic setup. So if you're working at your dining table, be aware of the height of the table, maybe get a chair that can adjust to a height where not as much stress goes into your lower back. So it's more about being very cognizant and trying to duplicate the ideal circumstances that you had either at your gym or at work, and try to have those same conditions at home. That way you have less risk of injury.
When you talked about having a chair that is the right height, what is the right height actually?
So the right height is basically where you're not slouched over. So any height of desk that you use where you're slouched over puts stress around your shoulders, puts stress around your lower back, and you'll feel it. So if you feel that you're sitting down and within an hour you start feeling discomfort, that means you're not actually at the right height. So try to have it a little higher where you can kind of sit up straighter and have your chest out and be in a very comfortable position. Another thing that I love is a standing desk. So if you have the means to get a standing desk, you can have that at home, then you can just change position. Have a desk that's a little higher when you're seated, and then when you need to change position, you can get into a standing position and keep working. That way you're adding activity as you work at home.
Also during the pandemic, a lot of people have put on some weight because they've been doing a lot of eating a lot of comfort food, the carbs and the sugar. But you say that eating that kind of a diet actually can cause you to have back pain and spine pain.
Absolutely, because as we discussed before, the stronger your core is, the more support your back has. So if you're eating carbs, you're eating sugar, first of all, it slows you down. It gets you a little lethargic, so you're not as proactive in working out. Clearly, you're not putting direct stress on your core to strengthen your core to protect your back. And this leads to a cascade of events where your back sees more injury. So we have to be aware. It begins with awareness and then being proactive and having things that we do to make sure we maintain proper spine health.
I was very surprised to see that smoking is actually on the list as well. A lot of people can't really make that connection between smoking and back pain. Can you explain that?
So when you smoke, you're depriving oxygen, because the blood vessels in our spine are very tiny blood vessels. There are a lot of little capillaries. Smoking tends to cause these to have stasis. They tend to cause vasospasm, where you don't have as much blood flow that goes to your discs. So the more you smoke, the less blood flow and vascularization you get to your discs, and the more likely you are to get degenerative disc disease, which then leads to back pain. So there's a direct correlation between smoking and back pain. And actually, patients who've had back surgery, especially lumbar fusion, one of the ways to have a non-union where it doesn't heal properly is by smoking. So if you don't get the proper blood flow to your back and you've had back surgery, the odds of you not even healing at all are way higher. And oftentimes insurance companies won't even approve the surgery for a non-smoker. So for a known smoker, So smoking, back pain, that combination, very bad. Minimize smoking to have a healthy spine.
As a physician, what type of program do you recommend for people who want to quit smoking but are just having so much trouble doing it?
That's definitely a challenge. And, you can use replacements. You can use nicotine gum. You can use the patch. But nicotine itself is problematic as well. It's not just the smoke and the toxins from smoking. Also, nicotine itself can cause a limitation in the vascularization that our spine sees. So probably the best way is to wean. So if you're smoking a certain amount per day, then first try to eliminate smoking, have a replacement with nicotine, and then gradually wean the amount of nicotine your body sees. And hopefully within a reasonable period of time, you've broken the habit completely and you don't need nicotine anymore. So it's definitely a process. I don't see too many people come off of smoking or nicotine cold. You just have to work your way and gradually wean off.
Do you have an opinion about some of the prescription drugs? I'm thinking primarily of Chantix, which apparently has a pretty good track record, but some very serious side effects.
Yeah, every medication has side effects. Every kind of medical program you engage in that involves medication has caveats. So you take the good with the bad. So it's very individual, and you look at the risk-benefit profile of continuing to smoke versus trying something like Chantix. As long as you use it for a limited period of time with the goal of coming off of any medication whatsoever, then I think that's the way to go. But if the alternative is only smoking and not trying a smoking alternative, then you're going down the wrong path. So Chantix may not be perfect, but it's better than smoking.
This, of course, is quite the warning too. If you haven't ever smoked, certainly do not pick up this horrible habit, right?
Absolutely, because nicotine is addictive. And once your body becomes dependent on having it within the system, it's very difficult to get it out of the system and to stop that habit. So it's better to avoid it at all if possible.
All right, we're going to take another quick break and be right back with Dr. Okubadejo talking about ways to prevent spinal and back pain. Stay tuned.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
Call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. We're continuing our discussion with Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo about the worst mistakes people make when it comes to back pain. And Doctor, I thought it was really interesting that you actually had advice for people about the way they put their pants on. Can you explain that?
So you want to put your pants on from a seated position where you're not stressing your lower back. So the risk of straining is much higher if you try to put your pants on from a standing position. You see people trying to put pants on and wiggling into their pants. That's not ideal. So try to sit down, be comfortable, be aware of how much you're bending over. Some people who already have disc disease, who already have herniations, if you bend over in the wrong spot in the wrong situation, you can actually worsen a herniation. So do things that cause less stress as you change your clothing, as you put your pants on and off, and then you have a lower risk of injury.
And while we're talking about the wardrobe, can you give us some advice about the shoes we wear?
So it's important to have shoes that have good cushioning and good heel support, because that keeps our body in alignment and prevents us from having a greater risk of injury. Women who wear high heels, that tends to tilt our bodies forward, puts a little more stress on the lower back. If you wear flip-flops, you don't really get appropriate heel cushioning, appropriate protection. So I know there are circumstances where we have to wear flip-flops if we're on the beach. Our ladies wear high heels if they have a night out. Be aware of how much time you put in wearing these things. And in the time where you're not wearing the high heels or flip-flops, wear things that are ergonomic, but also have an active program, as we discussed earlier, of stretching and of strengthening, and that way things stay in balance.
So I really wish I had seen your list about 3 months ago. I've never had a back injury in my entire life. And I was working from home. I think I was on the couch for 2 days straight, hunched over my computer, and I had terrible back pain. And so that was strike number one. And strike number two, the way I felt I should take care of it is to stay in bed until I got better and rest it. And so apparently that's wrong too, that you're really not supposed to baby your back when you injure it. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Absolutely. So when you experience back injury, the first thing that happens within your spine is inflammation. So the first thing you want to do is to use anti-inflammatories. Start with over-the-counter anti-inflammatories. You can just use something as simple as Aleve. Aleve is an anti-inflammatory, and a good analgesic is Tylenol. You can take that. That tends to lessen the acute discomfort you feel. And then get up and it comes back to stretching. Get up and stretch. Get up and move. Things get stiffer. If you're injured and you lay around, things get stiffer. So it's better to move, use the anti-inflammatory, use the over-the-counter analgesic, and stretch. Stretch your back. Try to get the kinks out. That's the first thing to do. Maybe even go for a walk. If you're active and you get the blood flow going and you keep things stretched out, your odds of getting better quicker are higher than laying around and worsening the problem, especially if you have a mattress, because everything's connected. Now, if you have a mattress that's not firm, that doesn't give you proper support, things are only going to get worse.
And do you have an opinion on these Epsom salt baths? I've heard those are good for bad muscle or achy muscles.
Yeah, that's more subjective. Some people in their families historically, they've tried things like that. So that's more anecdotal. So if you find it beneficial, then do it. The thing about an Epsom salt bath is to put you in warm water, put you in a very soothing condition, which is healthy for the lumbar spine. So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. And if you find it soothing and it makes you feel better, then I'm all for it.
All right. Well, we're going to take one final break, and we'll be right back to talk more about how to prevent back pain. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
I do not like my sheets. I love my Giza Dream sheets.
Call or go to mypillow.com right now to take advantage of Mike's limited time offer. Use the promo code on the screen, and when you buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets, Mike will send you another set absolutely free. That's right, buy one set of Giza Dream Sheets and get another set absolutely free. Choose from a variety of colors in solid, stripes, and new flannel sheets. Order now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Are you between the ages of 50 and 75? If so, does your auto insurance payment reflect that you drive less now than you did 20 years ago? Industry analysts recommend that seniors check for better auto insurance rates every year until the age of 75. When was the last time you checked for a lower rate? With one call, the Senior Auto Insurance Helpline will help you shop several large A-rated auto insurers for the cheapest rates and the best coverage with plans as low as $9 a week. With 24/7 claims and customer service, they'll always be there when you need them. Best of all, getting a free quote will not cause your current rate to increase. Now is the time to pick up the phone and find out how much you could be saving. Will you qualify for a lower insurance rate for as little as $9 a week? Get a free quote now.
Call 1-800-453-0545. That's 1-800-453-0545.
We're back continuing our conversation with Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo, the Institute for Comprehensive Spine Care. And doctor, let's talk about pain medication. My reporting as the medical reporter for CBN News have learned that back pain is the #1 reason people are asking their doctors for opioid prescription pain medicines. What's your take on that?
Opioids can lead patients down a path where they become dependent, and it can create another problem. So when you have acute back pain, it's better to not go down the route of opioids initially. It's better to use anti-inflammatories, over-the-counter anti-inflammatories like Aleve. If it has to be prescription, I like celecoxib because it's once a day. Use analgesics such as Tylenol. A combination of the proper anti-inflammatory and non-prescription analgesics can often lessen the pain and prevent us from going down the route of opioids. My opinion on using opioids at all is if you have a problem that's surgical, where there's an endpoint where I know once I've resolved the surgical issue that you'll come off of the opioids, that's the circumstance in which I think opioids are appropriate. Or if you've just had surgery and you have to get over the acute surgical pain, then opioids are appropriate. But there has to be an endpoint for the use of opioids. So the threshold to use opioids at all in treatment needs to be very high. Avoid them as much as possible.
And when is surgery the right answer for back pain?
When patients have what we call radicular pain, so pain that travels down your arms, that's relentless, where you've tried over-the-counter medications, you've had physical therapy, maybe you've had an injection or two, and the pain persists, and your MRI shows something that clearly puts pressure on the nerves, that's surgical. If you have instability within your cervical spine, instability within your lumbar spine, and the only course to stabilize things is with surgery, that's surgical. If you have weakness, if you have progressive weakness in either your arms or your legs, if you have issues with balance, and your MRI or CT scan shows clear pressure on the nerves, that's surgical.
And is that, you see a lot of success with that type of surgery, and is that permanent?
Absolutely. So it depends on how many levels we're treating. The cervical spine has multiple levels, thoracic multiple levels, lumbar multiple levels. The fewer levels we have to treat, the greater the odds of success. The clearer the pathology that you have, the clearer the indication as to why you're having surgery, the greater chance for success.
Well, that's a great way to end the show. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Doctor, could you please tell our viewers one more time where they can get more information about you?
Absolutely. nynjspine.com.
All right. Once again, Dr. Gbolahan Okubadejo, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
And thanks to you for tuning in to Healthy Living for this edition. I'm Lorie Johnson, and we'll see you again next time.